This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party live on this Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. This show is recorded today, but I wanted to make sure that you had somewhere to come and say hello to each other and wish each other happy Thanksgiving here on the After Party family. So the chat will be open as long as the show is going on. And because it's Thanksgiving, I have a really special guest today. I know we don't often do guests on the After Party live, but I have one today. Do want to thank everyone for clicking that like button and clicking the subscribe button if you haven't already. Whoops, and that's my bad. And I would like you, if you could, to, again, click the like and subscribe, and wanted to thank everyone for contributing to the show. The show is crowdfunded. Please find the PayPal link in the About tab of the show here on YouTube and in the show description as well. Okay, let's get to it, because there's a lot of people that maybe either, and I know we don't talk about election stuff on this show, but a lot of people that may be feeling a little bit disillusioned with what happened, a little depressed still, maybe rifts in the family with Trump supporters or Harris supporters, whatever it may be. And maybe the family members that you used to celebrate with are no longer here. And a lot of people may be just trying to get through this Thanksgiving holiday. Well, it turns out I have an expert in my family and someone that I look forward to spending time with on the holidays, and that is my sister, who is a therapist. Hi, Erin.
Hi. I don't know if I'm an expert,
Well, I'd call you an expert. I mean, you have the master's degree to prove it, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. This is my sister, Erin. Erin is a marriage and family therapist. And I thought maybe you could give us some tips if you're having some struggles for the holidays this time around.
Yeah, I know the holidays can be difficult anyway for a lot of people. And I would say, you mentioned the election, so I'll just
Mhm.
kind of start there. I think, one thing is that we tend to feel out of alignment when our energy is not going into the things that we care about the most. And so, one thing, I tell people who I work with is to make a list of the things that you care about most. Make this list and then circle the ones that your energy is going to most. And if the top of the priority list has the things, those are the items that have been circled, then that's excellent news, because it means that your energy is going into the things that you care about the most. You're in alignment with your values.
Mhm.
And we tend to feel better when we're in alignment with our values. And so I would say, excuse me, in regards to the election, there's not a lot that we have, control over if you're unhappy with the outcome. But it's something that you care deeply about. Get involved. Find some way to put your energy into what you care most about. And that feeling of being in alignment, like you're doing what matters to you, can be really, really helpful. And also, there's not a lot of control that we have right now about the
Mhm.
situation. And so, that my second point would be, I guess, humans, we tend to live in the past, ruminating about things that have happened that we cannot change, or we tend to spend a lot of time in the future, future tripping, what ifing, thinking about all the things that haven't happened that we wish, or the things that we want to happen in the future that we're worried won't happen. A lot of catastrophizing about things
Mhm.
going just absolutely, in the worst case, scenario direction. And because we spend so much time in these two places, some of us spend more time in the past, some of us spend more time in the future.
Mhm.
It can be really hard to be in this moment right now as we're living it. We just sort of miss it as we spend time in these two places. And so I guess, one piece of advice I would have is to really take a moment this Thanksgiving and appreciate what's happening for you right now in this moment.
Are there
Because
maybe some people who feel
Mhm.
like my family members have passed away or we're not on speaking terms. It's hard for me to find a positive. I would like to think there's always some positive you can glom onto in the world, but I mean, maybe that's hard for some people to finally, a lot of people going through health problems, all of these things. So maybe it could be hard to find that silver lining.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, bad stuff does happen, and some of us get, stuck in a period that's maybe not as good as some other periods in our life. And I think what you said is right, Kim. I think there's always something, even if it's really, really small. And what we tend to do is we tend to put these sort of glasses on that filter out some of those positives, and we look for the stories that confirm sort of some of the negative things that we already believe to be true. We sort of look for evidence of that. And as a
Right.
result, we spend time in this sort of loop thinking about all of those negative things, unable to kind of break free. And so it can be really helpful in a day to day. I think we talked about this last year at this time. It can be helpful to have a gratitude journal, to write down the things that you're grateful for from today that are specific moments in time, not just sort of generic. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head, or I'm grateful that I have a job, or, some of those things, although they're wonderful, we tend to write the same things over and over again and they lose meaning. And so to be able to observe moments in time during the day, maybe it was, 2 o'clock this afternoon, I was at CVS and someone held a door open for me. And I'm grateful that
That's
people
so
can be
nice.
kind,
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. I'm grateful
Mhm.
people can be kind. Or maybe I was grateful for the roof over my head, but it happened at 11 o'clock this morning when the rain started falling. Man, I actually had this experience yesterday. It was raining so hard. I could hardly see out my windshield. And I
Yeah.
got home and I walked in and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful that I'm in my house right now and that it's
Mhm.
warm in here and I'm not out there with the water on my windshield. It's these moments. And what happens is if we write them down and we kind of hold ourselves accountable every day, knowing that we have to write them down, we
Mhm.
begin to start looking for those moments, knowing that we have to write them down. And I usually have three. Three is that number I suggest. You have to kind of take those glasses off that I mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
because you have to find three things during the day, and it can be life changing. Actually, we know that gratitude helps with physical health and illness.
Mhm.
We know it helps with mental health. It has all kinds of benefits. So gratitude
Yeah.
journal is really a great tool.
I love that. You were talking to me maybe, I don't know, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. I think we actually were on KGO talking
Mhm.
about gratitude and health. And one of the things you mentioned to me is that people that volunteer, and you'd mentioned volunteering for causes that you're passionate about and you want your energy to go to, but volunteering can improve the outlook of your mental health as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And for a lot of reasons, because we're giving back
Mhm.
to our communities, because there's often social interactions that happen when we're volunteering, and we feel in alignment with our values, like I was talking about earlier. All of those things make it a really healthy thing to do.
Yeah. So I don't know if someone was maybe alone this holiday, maybe they could find somewhere to volunteer or like serve dinner or do something that would give back and not only erase that time where you feel alone, but also, fill that bucket of volunteering that makes you feel useful and worthwhile in the world.
Hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And also, I want to add, some of us have experienced some real loss
Hmm.
recently. And it's normal for grief to come up when we've had a loss. And some of them are big losses, like we've lost a loved one.
Hmm.
Some losses are, gosh, we've just moved, or we've just had a baby, or we're in the middle of a wonderful transition. But in every transition, there's a loss. There's something that has been lost.
Hmm.
And so some of us feel grief and we're not even really sure what we're experiencing. What are we feeling so sad about? It's because there's been that loss. And it's okay to feel the grief. It's actually a really wonderful thing to feel the grief and let it kind of wash over us. And so I just want to kind of make the point that I don't encourage anyone to pretend like something bad didn't just happen and let's just go
Right.
ahead and shove that away and move on and volunteer. No, actually,
Yeah.
it would be great to do both, to honor the loss, to have a good cry, to be kind to yourself while you're having a good cry, and then
Mhm.
go volunteer and be out in the world living in alignment with your values.
It's funny you say that experiencing the grief can be a wonderful thing. It
Mhm.
goes against what you would think normally about grief. Like a grief is something you try to avoid, something you hope and cross your fingers doesn't happen to you.
Yeah. But when we grieve, it means that something really valuable in our lives has just left. Something really wonderful has just ended.
Hmm.
And it's very helpful to honor that ending. And also, just the natural process of grief will hit us whether we like it or not, unless we
Right.
stifle it, unless we we say things to ourselves that make the grief not happen, and then it just gets bigger over time, and it's like knocking on the back door and then getting in and coming out sideways, if we don't just let it happen. And the way that we don't let it happen is by coulda, shoulda, woulda. If I had
Hmm.
only done this different, if I should have done this, I could have done that, and then that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
This is what really gets in the way of
Yeah.
grief. Grief is painful. It's very painful, but
Yeah.
it comes over us in waves, and over time we come through it on the other end.
You had to deal with some grief this year as well. And I don't know if you want to go into it personally, but it's one of these kind of grieving moments attached to something that's really wonderful at the same time, less like a loss of a loved one, but more like a transition where your daughter, my niece, has gone off to
Mhm.
college, and for the
Mhm.
first time you're having to look and see an empty bedroom in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that hit me. That it
Hmm.
did. And I will tell you, I was so excited. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for her that she has worked so hard and has earned this. Um, and then I don't know, for some reason, it didn't register with me that like I actually had to drop her off. That moment was going to come where I had to leave her and say goodbye.
Right.
And so when it happened, it felt like this is such a silly thing because she's not an infant, but it felt like taking my child and dropping them off at preschool, for the first
Hmm.
time and being away. Like, I don't know if she's going to be okay. And then I got
Yeah.
on the freeway and I had to drive the opposite direction of her home. And I actually stopped and said to my husband, I think we need to pull over. I think we need to turn around and pick her up. I just
Yeah.
don't think this is
No.
a good idea. Yeah. It was
Oh,
intensely painful. Yeah.
yeah.
And wonderful. Such a strange combination of feelings all at the
Right.
same time.
Right.
Yeah, that was hard and wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Anything
still
else
it is.
anything else you want to say about Thanksgiving and making your way through the holiday if you're facing challenges? Anything we didn't cover?
Hmm. No, I think that the big thing is just be really kind to yourself and gentle with yourself if you're
Hmm.
struggling during the holidays, and know that it's time limited, this period.
Yeah.
And
That's key.
right, it's
You
time
don't have to stay
limited.
the whole 3 hours or
That's
4 hours, right? You could
that's
check out
that's
a little
right.
early. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
But kindness and gentleness and a really good self-care routine. Anything that you enjoy, art, artwork or reading books or going
Hmm.
on walks. For me, I like to play 80s music in my car and I rock out to that. You probably already know that, Kim, but it's the little things. It's
Hmm.
baking cookies. It's drawing with your niece or your nephew or your kid. It's the little things that bring you joy, and making sure that you incorporate those things every single day, and that you do it regularly, and it becomes an oxygen mask really through a difficult time. So take really good care of yourself, and just yeah, just show yourself that gentleness and kindness through these weeks ahead.
Well, one of the things we do to bring ourselves joy here on the after party is we enjoy waterfalls on Wednesday. We do a
Mm,
little thing we like to call Waterfall Wednesday, and there it is. And I'm
mhm.
looking and I'm thinking to myself, well, what waterfall would be great to show the day before Thanksgiving? And then I remembered you went to the waterfall. I mean, the waterfall, the big granddaddy of them all. You
Mhm.
guys went to see Niagara Falls when you were doing the college tour.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was the finale. So we went up the East Coast and visited all the colleges. She had to figure out where she was going to apply, and
Mhm.
our final stop after the final college was Niagara Falls. It was quite a sight. And at night, I don't know if you have a photo of this, but it was all lit up. The lights light up the entire thing all the way around, and it's spectacular. And these photos are taken from I don't know, maybe the 20th story of the Embassy Suites, which is on the Canada side, right overlooking both of the falls. And so we could watch at night from our window, all of the
Wow.
falls being lit up. It was beautiful. And we went on the boat and got really close and got soaking wet because the
Must be really
mist.
fun.
And then there's these tunnels behind Niagara Falls. And so we walked in there and walked up right behind Niagara Falls and saw the backside of it. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, the tunnels were really surprising. So you can watch the waterfall from the opposite side. And I don't know, is there the viewing point where you can go out and watch, and get kind of mist sprayed as well from that viewpoint?
Yes, I sent you a picture. I don't know if you have it of
Mm,
my family in front of the back, like right where the waterfall ends. Did you get that?
I do have it. Yeah. Hold on, I'll show it in a second. But go ahead,
Okay.
keep talking about your experience there.
Yeah. It was it was amazing. That boat right there you can see in that photo. Right, right about that time you start to feel the water on you, and then the boat keeps going and the water is churning and it starts to feel like a ride that you're on.
Hmm.
And then you get close enough where you can hardly even see. There's so much water that it's like someone is spraying you with a hose. That's how wet you get. That's everyone has to wear these ponchos to
Hmm.
stay dry. And it was really interesting at this moment, as we're right in the middle of this, giant horseshoe waterfall. My husband starts jumping around and what is he doing? What's going on? He's yelling, "Get it off! Get it off!" He had a gigantic spider crawl up the inside of his poncho, and you see him there. He's a pretty big man. He was screaming a very high pitched
Hmm.
scream, trying to find this spider, which we finally did see. It was giant, and I understand why he was so freaked
Oh
out.
my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, you can see right there on the end, though, and that this picture, we're kind of standing in front of it, but you can see the underneath, and you do get wet right there in that spot.
That's really cool. Would you say that's one of the most powerful things you've seen?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. That
Hmm.
was a pretty amazing experience. That was a bucket list kind of experience. My kids loved it too. They were very excited, and knowing that that was going to be the finale, Niagara
Hmm.
Falls, it was definitely something they looked forward to.
I don't know. It seems like that boat gets awfully close.
Yeah. The boat gets close. That part
Uh-huh.
was fun. The one thing I would do different, the Embassy Suites is a great vantage point, but it's really crowded with a lot of people and only two elevators. So you're waiting like 25 minutes for an elevator. It was pretty awful. I would not stay there again. But there were other options for anyone listening to this who's thinking, I'm going to go do that. Pick one of the other options, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have to show your passport to get to the Embassy Suite since you said it was on the Canadian side?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. That's pretty cool. And do they charge you to go into the tunnels?
Yes,
Yeah.
everything they charge you for everything.
Of course,
Each
right?
one is its own adventure. And I don't think it was terribly expensive, but
Hmm.
I don't know, $20 a person or something like that, if I'm remembering that correctly. But I knew we wouldn't be back there for a long time, if at all. So
Hmm. You
let's
just
do it.
splurged.
Let's go. Yeah.
Did they tell you any legends when you were on the boat or taking a tour at all about some weird things that have happened there or legends about how it formed?
No.
No? Okay.
There were some stories about people trying to go over the waterfall in barrels.
Yeah, that's happened over the
Um,
years. Mhm.
yeah, and there have been some people who've survived it.
Mhm.
So I was kind of surprised to hear that because when you see this waterfall, it does not look like something that anyone would be able to survive in a
Yeah,
bear. I mean,
no,
it's
it really doesn't.
gigantic, and the force with which that the falls hit the water,
Mhm.
um, it's very powerful.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. That is Niagara Falls, and I know we've talked about Niagara before, but not from a personal vantage point. Waterfall Wednesday, Niagara Falls. Erin, happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm gonna miss seeing you this holiday
You, I
because
know, but
I know.
yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful time on your trip,
Thank
and
you.
I'm very thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you too, more than you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that I think about often, how grateful I am in this world to have a sister. There was a time and that it's you. There was a time that I didn't feel that way when we were kids, but now, man, I can't imagine
Mhm.
going through life without you. So
Yes.
really grateful. And thank you for coming on the show and talking to people about what's happening, in the world and how we can make it better for ourselves.
Oh, yeah, anytime. Happy to do it.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye,
Happy
Erin.
Thanksgiving. Bye.
Bye. My sister, everybody. That is Erin, the therapist. And I like to have her on for Thanksgiving because she's always has such a great take on how to be grateful, how to take care of yourself, and how to get through these holidays, even if you're struggling and finding some things not quite easy in the world. We have another story that I can get to. Speaking um, of just interesting things, how about this story? Looking at the ones I want to show. Here's some uplifting news. I know a lot of people might be uh, saddled with drinking and we talked before on the show about drinking your way through the pandemic and how maybe some of that hasn't really stopped and drinking rates have kind of increased uh, post pandemic. Well, there's a study rather, unfortunately, that US alcohol related deaths have nearly doubled in the last 20 years. They say the growing number of victims from alcoholism are women. So, more women seem to be having some trouble these days. This study done by Florida Atlantic University College of Medicine, they say while men have higher overall death rates, women experience a larger relative increase as well in alcohol related deaths. And the thinking is that it could reflect in changing social norms and also the alcohol industry trying now to target women through their marketing campaigns as well. So the researchers looked at data from 1999 through 2020. And they say over that period, the rate of alcohol related deaths nearly doubled from 10.7 per 100,000 people to 21.6 per 100,000 people. That's a big increase in numbers. They went up in every age group, but there was nearly a fourfold spike in alcohol-related deaths during that time frame among 25 to 34-year-olds. The study results are published in the American Journal of Medicine, and what the authors concluded is that there's significant health challenges that could be required to target interventions for people. They say obesity, diabetes, liver damage all complicate challenges and increase alcohol related deaths. So, as our health gets, more precarious, so do the effects of alcohol. So, I know some people drink their way through the holidays. Let's be a little more careful when we're looking at that type of thing. Trying to find an uplifting story, but I do have this one. How about this wedding record? This is pretty cool. I like this story a lot. Back in the day, apparently, you could record your ceremony on vinyl. And that is what this couple did in 1966. They got married and they said they just connected with this recording. They got married in Los Altos Hills, California. The gentleman taught at the University of Texas for 40 years, retired in 2013, and they were at this estate sale apparently after they relocated to their house in Austin and a Denver retirement community as well. In 2022, they say the record must have been sold as the result of being misplaced in the wrong record sleeve. They said they had this estate sale that cleared out everything from their home that wouldn't fit in the new apartment. And they had this huge record collection, and somehow their wedding vinyl made its way into a jazz cover. She said, it makes me wonder what other treasures we left behind in this way. So they celebrated their 58th anniversary last August, and they managed to get this record back. So it ends up in this Texas thrift store. This woman buys it in Austin. She opens the cover for the Modern Jazz Quartet at Music Inn, and she finds this recording of these vows and these prayers and cheering family members. And she manages to find this couple via social media, and they finally have the recording of their wedding back. So something uplifting in all of this, to lose it in such a weird way and then to get it back just in time for their 59th wedding anniversary. There you go. Well, I hope you find some joy this Thanksgiving. I will be back live with you on Monday. The show is dark on Thursday and dark on Friday. Thank you for all the ways you contribute to the show, whether that is being here and participating every day, being part of this amazing community of people that have really gotten to know each other, whether that's contributing to the show financially, whatever it may be. I just want you to know that I am grateful for your presence here on the After Party Live. I hope you have a great rest of your holiday weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm truly thankful. All right. For now, make it a great holiday weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.